Hello, everyone. So, welcome to July. I'm really curious about how your June went because mine was very interesting. So, if you remember my last video, I was talking about how we were actually in Gemini season. And Gemini is all about communication. So, it rules the throat and the voice. And for me, and this is just a personal anecdote, but sometimes what's happening for me, I find is reflected in those people around me. So I, as you know, I'm an empath, trying to be recovering people pleaser. All of those things. I'm sensitive, intuitive. Um, but there's a lot that happened in my past, in my childhood, that I have been moving through, and sometimes multiple times throughout my life. The story comes up in different ways, and it needs to be healed and reintegrated. But what I found was a lot of it felt like it was rising to the surface again. So if you felt like there were old emotions, old wounds coming to the surface, you weren't alone. But for me, what needed to happen is it needed to come through the throat. It needed to be expressed verbally. The people that in my life that maybe knew some of what was going on, but never really heard the full story, especially from me as an adult, all of that came out. And it was unexpected. It was very emotional for me, and I'm sure that some of the people around me. But sometimes that's part of being able to heal, especially if you identify on that empathic people pleaser spectrum. You've always probably been in that place of needing to hold your own pain, your own emotions close to your chest, and maybe it even felt unsafe for you to express what you were feeling so you can help and please and make sure everything else around you was looked after and in order. So being able to express in a safe place is really, really important, and it's very much a part of the healing process. So for me, that was coming up as much as I was trying to hold it back. I didn't want to feel like I was placing blame or putting certain expectations on anyone else, like they had to fix me or heal me or anything like that. It was just very clearly what I was feeling within me needed to be heard. So that might have been part of what came up for you in a different way through Gemini season. So the beginning of June, where you were in a need to express. Maybe you were saying things that you had never said before. Maybe, you couldn't keep that lid on any longer, and things came out maybe in an explosion, or maybe it was more of a heart-to-heart conversation. But it's not easy, especially if you're used to being in that mode of safety and suppression. But as we begin, or continue, I should say, to evolve, to ascend as humans and souls, because we are both, we need to be able to let our shadow and our heavier emotions that we don't always like to deal with, they need to come up. They need to come out. They need to be seen, heard, accepted, integrated, and it's not easy work. So if you are going through a lot, you're not alone right now. You're not alone. You may have noticed I haven't been posting a lot on Instagram just because I've needed that time. We're also now in Cancer season. So we went from Gemini to Cancer at the end of June. So that was June 21st around the solstice. So a lot of big energy there, a lot of light coming through. And if you think about the solstice, okay, so that's the longest day of the year. You have full sun, full light. That is going to shine a light on all of the shadows and on all of those little corners where you want to keep things hidden and stored away. Our body is amazing at storing, you know, stuck energy. And that's why energy work, expression, breath work, dance, movement is so important because it can move some of these things out of us. Um, so, yeah, we went through the solstice where there was that bright beam of light that was shining on all of our shadow. So, if things were coming up, it was meant to happen. It's not meant for you to want to hide those things away. They need to be seen. And in that, we were also moving into Cancer season. So, Cancer is all about intuition, it's all about emotions. It's ruled by the moon, it's watery, it's like that watery flow of emotions. So, you might feel like you are maybe sitting in heavier emotions right now. Maybe you are feeling that need to be more so in your shell, where you are more careful about who you're letting in and you're taking more time out to yourself. And that's sometimes really important to move through some of this healing process as well. Um, but one thing I've been thinking about when I speak about that shell is trusting that you are supported and protected. You know, maybe you do need space, but trying not to wear so much of a shield. So our sternum bone, right at the center of our energetic heart, where rib bones meet at the center, that is very much a place connected to our vulnerability. And sometimes when you feel emotions come up, you might actually feel sensation in this area. So, and instead of trying to hold it in or hold that kind of armor around yourself, that need for kind of protection or control, what would it feel like to take space for yourself, but let some of that armor drop? To let yourself breathe maybe a little bit fuller, to let go of control, to let some of the emotions even bubble up. Maybe it needs to be expressed. Maybe tears need to come through. What would it feel like to actually let go and let yourself express what you've been trying to hold in? Sometimes you need to come first. Sometimes your healing needs to be the most important, because if you are still in that place of trying to, you know, heal your own wounds, but you're busy helping and healing everybody else, you come last, right? And sometimes life will also give you those openings where things fall off of your plate and it's like, okay, I have no choice but to be with myself in these moments. This needs to be done. So I can actually then be there for my family, for my clients, for, you know, whoever you're supporting in your life. So don't be surprised if things continue to come up. I also feel like this second part of the year is going to be a lot different. I know many people are expecting shifts in regards to, it could be physical movement, it could be travel, it could be new relationships coming in and out. So I feel like there's going to be a lot more moving energy, if that makes sense. If you feel like the first part of this year was a little bit stuck and stagnant and you felt like you were kind of like pushing against things to happen, and maybe meeting some frustration, I feel like there will be a little bit more movement coming. A little bit more movement coming. So be gentle with yourself for July. I feel like there's still going to be a lot of heavy emotions, a lot of emotional challenges, and maybe even some instability if you feel like the need for movement is coming for you. whether that be a trip or a relocation or something like that. Hmm. I just want to see if there's anything else coming through. But yeah, the only thing that I said to a friend the other day was, um, I feel like with the shifting, I feel like there's still a lot of Gemini energy moving into Cancer season with us. And Geminis are very airy. Typically, they're busy. They like to communicate. They're very social. So you may actually feel like you're kind of in between or doing this dance between um, Gemini and the busy and the social, and then very much pulling back and being with yourself and being with your emotions. But make sure you are finding that balance and taking time to be outdoors, be in nature, really let yourself ground. We're having a lot of really potent energies coming through. So our bodies need time to calibrate with that. So if you feel days where you're just exhausted, do yourself a favor and let yourself rest if you can. So, like, be in that stillness. So, I'm just going to pick a few cards and see what else comes up for us this month in July. What do we need to know? What do we need to see? What's coming for us as a collective? Okay, yeah. So here we have Seven of Cups. And the way I kind of wanted to look at this, and remember when I was just talking about the solstice and how like the sun is going to shine this light into us, which is great. We're getting these like new light codes, and we may in some ways be feeling more uplifted or energetic, but it's also shining a light into our shadows. So you might also be feeling again that vulnerability building in your chest. You might be seeing things or addressing emotions that you've pushed aside. And it's finding that balance between the two of being in the light, being in play, being in the heat and the busyness of summer, but also taking the time to be in your wisdom, your intuition, addressing your emotions, and whether that be through talking, through moving, through breath work, through writing, whatever that may be. Maybe it is energy work, right? And it's like, so there is also many cups that are full, but it's like what needs to be emptied out, right? What excess emotions maybe need to be spilled out or maybe need to be seen, right? So it's a balance between the two. All right. So what energy is upon us? So what energy are we dealing with first and foremost? And then how can we better navigate that energy? Okay. Oh, this is interesting. All right. Okay. So this is some of the emotional energy that's still here. So this is spirit of wood. Wood is actually sort of like leftover from springtime. This is when we're supposed to be in our growth. So this is implosive emotional disharmony. So this might be like there's still this feeling of like stuckness, stagnation, maybe depression and hopelessness. Like it's really those heavier, dense emotions, and it really could feel like you're being held back in some way. So, in order to be in the flow, and this spirit of wood or this element is all about flow. It's all about rebirth. It's all about rejuvenation. We need to get ourselves unstuck. So things need to be moved. So expression, moving your body. How do you move some of this out? And this could even be like addressing how you're eating as well. Maybe like lighter, cleaner, a cleanse or a detox, because even what we eat affects our emotional and mental health as well. So Again, this needs to be moved out, a way of dealing with this as well. So this is a second card. I just want to make sure I'm holding these properly. There we go. So Spirit of Fire, this is mental harmony. So this is, again, that fire element where this is summer. This is like heat of summer. We're in this right now. Looking at where we're putting our time and our energy. So this element is heart. Remember, I was talking about like that feeling of vulnerability, but heart is also like, what do we desire? What are we yearning for? What is important to us? And then there is our gut feelings, so our small intestine. And ideally, we want what's our thoughts, we want our heart and our gut to feel like we're in alignment. And when we're not in alignment, where we're not listening to our gut feelings, or for instance, our rational mind is taking control over what our heart wants, then we are totally out of balance. We're out of our alignment. So this might also be like, where are you spending your time that no longer feels good? Where are there relationships that aren't serving you anymore? This could be especially like your life purpose, right? So is there something that you're doing in the world, that you're offering in the world, that needs to be realigned, reintegrated, and looked at in a different way? Maybe there's a shift that needs to happen. So how you think, how you feel about it, and like even those gut feelings that might say, ooh, this isn't quite right. You want your whole body to be like, okay, yes, this is my path. This is what I'm meant to be doing, right? And if this is work related, sometimes we can get into those sticky emotions, right? Where it's like things aren't working. I feel depressed. I feel hopeless, right? So pay attention if this is what's coming up, okay? And I just wanted to pull one more card. So this is more like energy archaeology. So it's how our energy, our emotions are connected to our physical body, and where we might store some pain, emotions, blocked energy. So one card already fell out. I'm going to pull another one here. Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to show you the first one. All right, so this is supporting. This is left foot. I'm trying to get it here so it doesn't, I don't get too much glare. So left foot is emotional. This is our feminine side. So we really want to be planted and rooted in our intuition this month. So if we are moving, if we're shifting, this isn't so much like the masculine pushing into things and making things happen. This is stepping into our feminine side and allowing those roots to connect us, and being in our knowing of this is the right path. So it's not pushing to make the path happen. We're not clearing the path. We're letting our emotions, our intuition, our own wisdom take us on that journey, right? Where we have an inner knowing that this is the right path for us. Okay? And the other one coming up, this is love. So this is actually fourth finger and toe. And now you don't need to worry yourself so much about that, but again, we wear like our wedding rings on our fourth finger. But this is like love might be coming in for you. We might be seeing a shift in our relationships. But I want to say is that this is really about integrating love for yourself. If you are one who puts everyone else first, this is really about giving yourself that love and the kindness that you really truly deserve, right? Because I know about that about myself. I'm known for showing up for people, but I can be really, really harsh and critical to myself. And so I'm having to to shift the conversations I have with myself. I'm needing to shift how I speak to myself, how I feel about myself. And even the people around me that's very much changed. Okay. So being in your intuition, how are you loving yourself and loving on yourself, right? If there are changes in your work, in your purpose, in your path in life, are you feeling stuck? And it can actually be, let me see if I can hold all of these together here. So kind of being in your intuition, more so about like, what is next for you? What is your path? So if you're feeling stuck, get into your intuition and your wisdom and let your heart and your gut and your mind be all on the same page. You might need to let some heavy emotions go. You might be seeing that shadow, right? That is keeping you stuck and stagnant. Sorry, I can't keep these cards on the camera. So hopefully that makes sense for you. Okay. All right. So just take a moment, place a hand on the center of your chest, and place your other hand on your belly. And just close your eyes with me for a moment. And just give yourself some breaths. Almost feel like your belly could drop into your base hand. And feel like as you breathe, you could expand your chest into your top hand. Just a deep, full breath. So your breath is filling into all of those spaces. It's filling you up. It's filling up your energy. It's bringing you a sense of lightness. That even as you fill that space within you, it's increasing that space. It's increasing that capacity to hold a container when some of that shadow comes up. And just be really compassionate and really tender with yourself right now. And you can come back to this at any point, and just with your hands on your body, just that reminder of, I'm here for you. I feel you. I love you. So staying with that if you need. And thank you for joining in. I have a link below if you'd like to receive some support through a reading or Reiki session, whether that be in person or online. So be well. July is going to bring up a lot for us, but you've got this.